Good morning, everyone. I'm Julie Livingston, president of Want Leverage Communications. It's great to be here with you again. And website at wantleverage.com and download our free tip sheet, which is brand new. Unlock the 5 hidden LinkedIn strategies that top PR teams swear by. It's got lots of great tips and takeaways for you on how to use LinkedIn for PR. I'd love to introduce my guest for today. Her name is Laura Henson. Laura, welcome. She is a seasoned marketer with more than 2 decades of experience in high-level strategic communications. She launched HVM Communications in 2009 to meet the demands of clients seeking a customized and personal approach to brand building. Laura has developed strategic plans and managed campaign execution for some of the world's most admired brands, such as Hermes, St. Regis Hotels and Resorts, Method, Gaiam, Asprey, Pertizzi, Missoni, and Salvador Ferragamo. Whether short-term projects or long-term agency of record commitments, the opportunity to deliver value to every client is her driving force. And while technology has dramatically changed the way we communicate, Laura knows that strategic planning and relationships remain the cornerstones for success, and creating meaningful content with value forges lasting connections with audiences. So great to see you, Laura, and thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your backstory, kind of where you're from and how you got started?
Sure. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm now in New York. I've been in New York for over 25 years, but that's where I started. And I had the good fortune to go to college in Paris for a year, one of the abroad type programs at my school. And I fell in love with fashion, French luxury fashion to be exact. And I thought that was what I wanted to do after that. That was just my goal. Somehow, after coming back to the States, I landed in PR, and I ended up, well, I didn't land in PR. I did a couple of other things, and I hired a PR agency to work with me on a project. And I was like, wow, this is what PR is. This is the fun stuff. This is really interesting. So I got more and more involved in that. And then I actually left the company I was working at, went to work with the PR agency I had hired for a little bit, and then decided I needed to be in New York. So I moved to New York, had a stint at Condé Nast at Mademoiselle magazine, for those of you who remember Mademoiselle. And then I wanted to go back into PR, and I had the really, really good fortune of being hired at Hermes. And that really, of course, opened a lot of doors.
Oh my goodness, wow.
Yeah, it really, really helped kind of direct my future. So I worked for multiple luxury fashion houses in-house for what I used to say was half of my career. Now it's no longer half of my career. And then went out on my own. And when I went out on my own, I started in fashion and luxury fashion and worked with, again, Ferragamo, a lot of these brands that you just spoke about. And eventually evolved. I got older, I had a child, and, I wasn't wearing my Hermes. I was wearing my Gap t-shirts and stuff like that. So we just evolved over time and became more of a lifestyle agency, and then started focusing a lot on beauty, health, and wellness, which we still have a division for, which I absolutely love my clients. We've been working with a lot of our clients in that division for like 5 years or more. And I would say about 5 years ago, it's funny, one of my clients says, in your mid 40s, early 50s, you wake up one day as a woman and you suddenly need purpose, and you just have to define and figure out what that is. And I think that's what happened, because I had a couple of outlier clients in more of the business arena, business category, finance, that type of thing. And I just started learning more about the inequity for women in business and women-led businesses.
Yeah.
Venture capital, investing in women. And I just suddenly became incredibly passionate about women and amplifying women for the purpose of equity, so that we can see the future we want to see. Understanding that investing in women is good business.
Absolutely. I actually am involved in an organization called the Quorum Initiative, which is a global group of women in a number of cities around the world. And one of our mantras is to um, include, in why can't I get the words out? Increase the number of the amount of investment in women owned and led companies and to amplify the presence of women on corporate boards.
Absolutely. I represent an organization called How Women Lead and How Women Invest, and I'm so involved. I'm actually now on the board as well. But their entire, their objective is to get women to invest in women-led businesses, often through women-led venture capital funds,
Right.
and also get women on boards because the stats show that investing in women, again, the ROI is overall higher, and again it's good business, and it helps with innovation, again, diversity, and it's necessary,
Absolutely.
in my opinion.
So I talk a lot about thought leadership. That's kind of my thing, PR and thought leadership, and the importance of having a personal brand narrative. I do a lot of my work on LinkedIn, using LinkedIn as a PR platform, and I'd love to hear from you as to why having a personal brand narrative is important in business, but also um, for PR.
So it's interesting. I've actually had a lot of women asking me lately, kind of in the C-suite, like, I'm really, I'm a CMO, I'm a CFO. Why do I need a personal brand? And my answer is always, you're a CMO at this company right now, but are you going to be there in 5 years? I don't know. Are you going to choose to be there,
Right.
or is somebody going to tell you you're no longer welcome? Either way, um, you may not be in that job forever, and that personal brand is really important for when you decide, or when you are forced to potentially pivot, and do something else, which, again, I think a lot of women come to a place in their lives where they do want to do something different, and having that personal brand really draws attention to and amplifies your expertise, and frankly it can make everything easier, for you. If you, let's say, you start a business and you need funding, again, you have a reputation, a really positive reputation for, you know exactly, your expertise, for example.
Because and you're controlling the narrative as opposed to
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing, being proactive with your personal brand is really important, because otherwise other people can write your brand narrative, and you do not want that to happen.
which leads to my next question, which is what is the difference between reputation and a personal brand?
It, it's so funny. I've actually not thought of things that way, but I think I would say that your personal brand develops your reputation, essentially. I mean, you want your reputation to be positive, and therefore, if you proactively develop your personal brand, your reputation should go hand in hand with that. However, your personal brand has to be, we'll use the word authentic. I'm sure we're going to talk about that soon, but authentic meaning your values need to match your personal brand, and you need to, in fact, like, walk the walk, and whatever you say your values are, you better be doing that, behind the scenes at all times as well, for your reputation and personal brand to work together and to be positive.
Yeah, I mean, I have worked with a few clients whose behavior was a little erratic, and I found that it was very difficult to control their personal brand because they would act one way at certain times and another way at other times, and so you really have to be consistent about it.
You do, and I mean, everything you say is important. I mean, you have to own what you say and how you act and the things you do. So again, you really need to be aligned with who you say you are, um, in order for,
At all times.
at all times. Absolutely. I mean, it needs to be truly who you are. I mean, faking it I know people say fake it till you make it, but you can fake it so far, but sooner or later you will get called out, especially in today's world with, the internet, everybody on phones, people can get a video of you in 1 second. I mean, there are too many ways to kind of get caught if you're being inauthentic.
How does authenticity tie into thought leadership?
Um, well, I think they go hand in hand, right? I mean, thought leadership. I think of thought leadership as, again, sharing your expertise, your expert opinion, your thoughts on certain matters, uh, with the public, and so authenticity. I mean, your beliefs should be your beliefs. Your and based on facts, et cetera, and so forth. So again, authenticity and thought leadership should go hand in hand. I mean,
No,
I don't
I agree.
out the other. I don't think it would work. Again, you would get called out on your actions or behaviors.
So we've, read about this every day in the new, in the world where the lines between real and fake have become so blurred. Has the word authentic lost its meaning? I mean, a few years ago, authentic was named by Merriam Webster, I think, the word of the year. But how does authenticity really come into play? And what do you mean by it? And how is it an element of personal branding?
So I always say I hate using the word authentic because it's so overused, but it is a real word, that I think is really important, because authenticity is what creates trust, and trust is what you need to be a thought leader, to be an expert, to have your voice amplified, and to have people trust you, whether it's, again, whether you're sharing information about, how to, I don't know, how to use AI or something simple like that, or potentially, what brand you should buy for this, or why you think this is better than that. Again, it all comes down to trust, and trust and authenticity go hand in hand. So I think, we could come up with another word, but authenticity still
It's
really
still the one.
works. Still fun. It's overused, and there is unfortunately a lot of inauthenticity as a result.
Yeah, I think trust is the foundational thing, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, that's why you have to walk the walk, and really your values have to align with the personal brand that you develop in order for that trust to be there. And the world's getting smarter, people are getting smarter, and I do think in the future of PR with AI and everything we have, AI is incredible. It's such a great tool to help us, but you also have to make sure that it's amplifying your
Yeah,
authentic voice, instead of just
right.
taking over and creating whatever it wants, and you're suddenly sounding like someone else, because then, the public, your followers are confused, and they no longer trust you.
Right. So, Laura, how do you help your clients build a personal brand? And like, is there a rubric or are there questions that you ask to kind of bring this out?
I wish there was an exact rubric, but I truly believe that every client is a little bit different, right? Everybody has their objectives. Some people are really more focused on a larger company, and some people are, again, like maybe interested in promoting a book they're writing. So you've got a lot of different kind of elements that you might be playing with. So what we typically do is we kind of have three kind of scopes that we typically work under, and they're pretty simple. In fact, it's interesting, since COVID, I switched gears a little bit, and we used to do a lot of large partnerships, things like that, college tour around the country, and now we're much more streamlined. We basically work on earned media for our clients. We get women on stages, the right stages, and I like to say in the right rooms with the right people, because our goal is twofold. It is to create a national presence for the clients, and everybody loves, a good Forbes, Fortune, Inc., et cetera type
Sure.
feature. But when you look at it, I tend to think that a wide audience are reading those. Whereas maybe your business is very niche. If you're in private equity and you've just opened a fund and you're looking to attract, high net worth accredited investors or family offices or such, you also need to go into that niche media that's really going to hit your client, your potential customer. So we always approach the media part from a twofold point of view. And then we do that with the stages too, because again, the networking can be great on a larger stage, but getting in some of the smaller rooms actually is where you're going to actually see money, like your business grow and drive like very quickly. And I always find, I've been in this business for so long, that that's really important to clients, right? That it's no good if they end up saying, "Oh, I was in Fortune, but no, I didn't see anyone, buy my product or invest in my fund or whatever."
Right.
So we approach it from those directions, and I think one of the things that we do, I don't know if it's differently or just I'd say well, is we really really dive deep with our clients and get to know them. I always do a personal interview, an in-depth interview with them when we first start, so we can really, wrap our heads around who they are, what their voice is, knowing that we are going to need to replicate their voices in certain instances,
Sure.
and really, get going and understand who they are, what their objectives are, what their strengths are, et cetera and so forth.
That's great. Are, in your opinion, are there leaders who have done a really good or perhaps not so good job at establishing their personal brand?
Um, there certainly are. Let's see. I don't. I'll keep my mouth closed about some of this. I don't want to go political here at
Right.
all. But yeah, yes, I would say. I mean, for example, in this world that I'm kind of working and living in, where it's about equity for women, I mean, you could take like a Reese Witherspoon or a Nicole Kidman, for example, who have really done a lot within the film industry. Well, Reese beyond that, because she has Hello Sunshine, right? And she's investing in women, but they're both really trying to create equity for women in the
Sure.
space in which they work. And then also, I mean, I would have to say, I love my clients are amazing. They're all trailblazing women. I work with a woman, Julie Castro Abrams, of How Women Lead and How Women Invest. And she has, I mean, she couldn't be more authentic. She walks the walk every single day, and her life is dedicated to what she's doing. And I have so much respect for that. It's really incredible.
So it's really follow, being in the using the same voice, no matter where you are. You could be at the supermarket, or you could be, giving a speech to thousands and thousands of people, but you really have to come across in the same way.
You really do. And I think to do that, you probably have to authentically be who you are, or again, you're a really, really good actor, which I'm sure they exist too. But
So, what would you say to somebody who was in business, but their personal brand was not so well defined?
I would suggest that they invest in changing that really, into evolving it and really working on it, because again, I think it's incredibly important. And people can start in many different ways. To your point, I think LinkedIn is an incredible um, social media. I don't even really, it is social media, but I don't consider it that, outlet to have a voice, um, be an expert, and really amp up your reputation in your industry. I think LinkedIn is a really, again, it's a very personal and easy way for you to do that. To go beyond that, of course, with media, that can be hard unless you have someone helping you with that. So you could hire a publicist or a PR agency. And the other thing as well is, to try to get some speaking engagements, in the right spaces. It's great for your reputation, your credibility, and networking.
Great. Laura, thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate your time and expertise. And for everyone else, I'll see you next time on another edition of PR Patter. don't forget to go to my website at wantleverage.com and download the 5 hidden LinkedIn strategies that top PR teams swear by. It's just hot off the press. So take a look. And I will see you next time on PR